How many times have you woke up in the morning and realized you were late to whatever you were doing and you can't find a single thing that you're looking for? And as you toughen up and get ready to get out of the house, you get on the street and realize it's Saturday. Now, this exact situation probably didn't ever happen to you, thankfully, but there can be plenty of other scenarios that get you just as annoyed at this. When you reach this stage of irritation, you probably start yelling, screaming, swearing, or maybe even start crying. But then 10 minutes later, you'll just realize what a stupid person you're being, how you wasted 10 minutes of your day regretting how you forgot to check the date before leaving the house. But may I just point out that within these precious 10 minutes of your day, you're able to accomplish way more. You could have sent an important email or even watched a YouTube video, but then instead, you had an emotional meltdown. If you once looked on the positive side and just kept thinking about all the good things you could take away from it, your life would be so much easier. The first time that this concept came up to me was during our 8th grade camp last year. At the last minute of the day, we were all notified the camp was postponed due to a typhoon near our region. Everyone was extremely disappointed, including me. But to cheer myself up, I thought, at least I have a couple more weeks to stay excited, to be full of the bright expectations, picturing all the fun, team-building activities we'll be doing. And since I didn't start packing yet, I'd given myself a lot more time to prepare for it. And in the end, camp did turn out to be amazing. We had an awesome time, but I felt that I had an even better time. Not because of all the fun activities we were doing, but also, most importantly, because of how I was able to get rid of my disappointment and see the good in the bad. After I learned how helpful it was to think positive about problems, I've been applying it in my life all the time. This Christmas holiday, for instance, when I was on my way back to China, our first flight of the trip was a connecting flight, and guess what? It was delayed. Now, obviously it wasn't going to please my family and I, but what was even worse was that since our first flight was delayed, it meant that we would miss our next flight as well. As a solution, the airline company rearranged another flight that was on the next day. My entire family was frustrated about it, but it was out of their control, and they couldn't do anything about it. Since it made no sense to wait at the airport for more than 24 hours, we returned back to our home to head to the airport again the next day. Although it was very annoying and an extreme amount of traveling and luggage to carry around, I challenged myself to think of the positives. I thought I was able to stay on holiday for another day and enjoy the comfort of sleeping in an actual bed for another cozy night. So in the end, I was the only one in my family that was able to head to the airport a second time with a big smile on my face. Imagine if you had to go through a mood swing every time something unlucky happened to you, something that was out of your control. It wouldn't make sense to be upset about it. If it is out of your control, you can't do anything about it. It wouldn't make a single difference to the matter if you were upset, frustrated, or being mad. So why waste the energy to moan and be angry? Instead, the best solution is just to sit back, relax, and remain a positive attitude until action can be made. Every single time that I trip over, miss a deadline, or even embarrass myself publicly, the first thing that comes up to my mind is, oh God, I really wish that I was out of this situation right now. But then I immediately challenge myself to think the other way, the positive way, the only way for me to enjoy the embarrassing moment. I say to myself, this could be a haha moment in the future. It will be worth a laugh sooner or later. And by thinking positively, I've been able to deal with numerous embarrassing moments of my life without being stressful about it afterwards. And whenever you need a relatable moment in a conversation, you will have plenty in your pocket. By this moment of my speech, you might be thinking, what do I care about thinking positive? I can think however I want. Or, like a majority of the population, you might think that you're already thinking positive and you don't need me to be here nagging around how you should think even more positive. But I'm here today not to share some scientific research or tell a made-up story just to prove a point, but instead I'm here to share an authentic speech to tell you how I genuinely feel about the world in the simplest words. I'm speaking about this matter not because our world is dark and no one thinks positive thoughts anymore, nor is it because I need to control you and force you to do as I say. But the real reason that I'm making it such a big deal to see the good in everything that you do is because in our now fast-paced life with high amounts of stress and anxiety, no one gets the chance to appreciate the tiny little positives in daily life anymore. No one gets the chance to just sit down and worry about nothing. In fact, why don't we try that right now? Just all of you, stay in your seats, close your eyes, and breathe. Breathe in and breathe out. That was probably the calmest moment of my day. And this is because everyone is filled with stress. There's constant negativity being spread out, regardless if the negativity is being spread out on purpose. And I believe that in order to release all the stress and anxiety, everyone should at least try to get into the habit of seeing the good in the bad. Going beyond the surface of the issues you face, and maybe being able to see just even the tiniest bit of positivity in everything that you do. That positivity will accumulate and grow into large pieces of positivity and eventually balance out the negatives. And this might just make you a little less depressed. And now, don't get me wrong, you will still be sad sometimes or throw a tantrum or two, but every emotional outburst that you will have in the future will be just a tiny little bit less emotional than the last. And that's probably what we all hope for, right? Now, to sum it all up, I would like to share an anonymous quote. There are only two things that you can control in your life, your actions and your reactions. So I say, make them good ones. Allow yourself to take control of your mood and reaction to events. Not everything will go the way you want it to go, but your mood and emotions can go the way you want it to be. Find all the lucky bits in your not-so-lucky experiences and positively react to them, securing yourself with a positive memory. And now, by the end of my speech, if you feel that it was horrible and a complete waste of your time, maybe, and just maybe, you will still be able to find just that tiny, tiny little bit of good in it. Thank you.